Tennessee. So this webinar is being put on by the Tennessee Recycling Coalition in collaboration with the United States Business Council for Sustainable Development, the Tennessee Materials Marketplace, and the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. My name is Caleb Powell, and I'm an environmental scientist for the Office of Policy and Sustainable Practices at TDEC, and I'm also a board member for the Tennessee Recycling Coalition. So I will be hosting the webinar today for our wonderful speakers. We're very excited to talk about the circular economy and recycling in Tennessee. So everyone is muted upon entry to reduce the amount of background noise, but if you have any questions, comments, or concerns during the length of the webinar, feel free to ask them in the chat.
I'm actually sending a chat to everyone right now, and you should be able to see that. Also, there is a feature, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you. We want this to be more of a discussion. If you have questions, if you don't feel comfortable asking them physically, then you can ask them through the chat box. But if you would like to have the discussion, then right in the participants on the right side of the screen, you'll see a little hand emoji. You can, and I'll do that right now. I'm raising my hand. So if you can see, my name is the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. There's a little hand up next to my name. You can turn that on and off. And then if you guys do that, I'll unmute you and we can start the conversation there. So to give you a little overview of what's going to be covered today, in this webinar, we'll dive into the Tennessee Materials Marketplace, and that's a program that connects Tennessee organizations to develop and scale new reuse and recycling market opportunities. Manufacturers are using the marketplace to source materials and find new solutions for challenging waste and byproducts. Recycling companies are uncovering new customers and end markets, and entrepreneurs are using the program as an innovative platform to build new reuse and recycling businesses. So we're going to be hearing about the Tennessee Recycling Coalition from our president. We're going to be hearing about the materials marketplace and how to use it. And then we also are going to be hearing about some success that has come from the materials marketplace. So our presenters have a wealth of knowledge and experience that will help us better understand Tennessee's circular economy and the materials marketplace. So with that being said, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Meredith Leahy. She's the president of the Tennessee Recycling Coalition. Ms. Leahy has worked in many different arenas of recycling, such as with local governments, material processors, nonprofits, corporations, and commodity-specific groups in the industry. All of these experiences have given her a comprehensive view of the recycling landscape, which enables her to better serve on the TRC board. For TRC, she works to develop action-oriented plans to make important strides towards improving recycling and making positive impacts for our state, environment, and communities in Tennessee. So, without further ado, I will pass it on over to Meredith.
All right. Hey, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. Thank you so much to everyone for allowing me to speak today and for all the attendees for showing up and signing in and registering, and thanks to all the panelists for this opportunity to present this information. In case you're not familiar, the Tennessee Recycling Coalition has been around since about 1990, and as Caleb sort of alluded to, our focus is on promoting recycling and reuse activities across the state. So kind of what that translates into is working with industries, different companies, individuals, communities, all sorts of different stakeholders across the state to figure out how to improve recycling while working together. So that's kind of our task that we are presented with every year. And the way that we do that is we kind of offer different things to our members as well as sponsors and different people in the community, one of which is workshop series that we usually have out at different businesses or different locations or centers across the state to kind of showcase what is happening in recycling and some of the great things that are already going on in our state. As we know with COVID, things have kind of taken a different creative turn, if I can say that. So we're kind of going virtual this year for a lot of our workshops. So we've kind of transferred that to this particular webinar. We also have another webinar coming up next month that will showcase Lazy Boys, zero waste to landfill kind of journey at their Dayton, Tennessee facility, all the great work that they're doing. So please register for that. And then, just some of our past workshops have included topics like zero waste, glass recycling. The real intent of this is to help people learn about best practices and things that have worked for other groups or companies so that that can be shared and more recycling can be improved and made more efficient. So that's kind of what we do as far as our workshops and now webinars here to offer that virtually. For communication, we have our website, newsletter, social media. We're just trying to keep the public and our membership up to date on recycling news and pertinent issues that are coming up. There's always things changing, improvements that are being made, so we try to keep everyone updated. We will have our Recycler of the Year award, so this is our opportunity to showcase all sorts of different great businesses, schools, nonprofits, individuals, and all the great things they're doing for recycling already. So we will have that. It will be virtual, so stay tuned for that. We'll have more information on our website and newsletters related to that. So that's a little bit about TRC, and if you're curious to want to know more, there below in the lower right-hand corner is our website. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thanks, Meredith. Let's see. All right. And so next, I would like to, and you've already, some of you already heard from Emily a little earlier when she did her welcome, but I wanted to introduce her, and then she's going to jump into the materials marketplace and some ins and outs on how to use it if you're not familiar. So Emily is a sustainability enthusiast and connector of humans who are seeking to make the world a better place. She helps facilitate the Tennessee materials marketplace and has experience in the circular economy, energy innovation, and sustainable development goals. She is the director of the circular economy programs at with the materials marketplace at the United States Business Council for Sustainable Development. That's a mouthful. But without further ado, I am going to pass it over to you, Emily.
All right, well, thanks so much for that. Coming in clearly?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. And Meredith, thank you so much for also everything that you're doing to lead the Tennessee Recycling Coalition as well. I'm really excited to be here today, and I'm also happy to talk about the Tennessee Materials Marketplace program and talk about some of the successes that we've had and kind of go through some of the logistics for making the Tennessee Materials Marketplace work for the Tennessee Recycling Coalition as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to move forward with some of the slides. And I know there are several people in this room who are very familiar with the Tennessee Materials Marketplace. I will go ahead and say, Don, if you can hear me now, I might put you on the spot later to talk about some of the successes that you've had. And we also will be talking about successes that Lincoln Young has had with the Tennessee Materials Marketplace program as well. But to give you a little bit of background, the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation supports the program. It is led by the nonprofit, the U.S. Business Council for Sustainable Development. So essentially what we do is provide a collaborative network through an online platform. If you haven't already joined the Tennessee Materials Marketplace, it's very easy to do. You can just go to the program website here, the tennessee.materialsmarketplace.org. There's a Get Involved button. You can actually chat with the Marketplace assistant. You'll enter some information about yourself, and you'll be able to create an account. So if there's one thing that you take away from the presentation today, if you're not already on the Tennessee Materials Marketplace, I really do encourage you to check out the website and consider being involved in the program. Just to highlight some of our participation, including the sectors that we work with, the recycling sector is definitely a big focus. I know that we want to get all the materials processing organizations involved in essentially showcasing their capabilities on the Tennessee Materials Marketplace, so we can connect you with respective businesses that can use those materials processing capabilities. So there are a lot of manufacturers on the Tennessee Materials Marketplace as well. And oftentimes manufacturers are seeking materials from recyclers to actually incorporate into their products. So at this time, I think it might be helpful just to give a quick briefing on the circular economy if you're not already familiar with that term. I explain it very simply, right? The Earth has essentially been mined of many materials already, right? And so they're out there, as you know, to be reused and recycled into new products. So it's not just the manufacturing sector that's involved in contributing to the growth of a circular economy. We're also seeing participation from many other different organizations as well, including entrepreneurs who are essentially proposing new products that can be created from recycled materials. And I'm sure some of you out there too have even thought of some cool products that can be created from some of the materials that you know you're taking as a recycler, or you're aware of that recyclers are able to process. You know, some of the ideas that come to my mind more recently, I think about things like a hula hoop, for example, that's made from recycled materials that's meant to help keep a safe social distance. I also think of a self-quarantine bubble as well, made from recycled materials. So maybe some ideas like this have come to your mind. Just keep in mind that the Tennessee Materials Marketplace is here to essentially help you connect the dots with some organizations that can essentially help productize recycled materials and essentially create revenue streams. So as far as materials marketplace successes go, I feel like there's someone in this room, or there are multiple people in this room who can speak more closely to the successes here. So I'm going to first put Don. Can you hear me? Are you able to unmute?
I can hear you, yes.
Wonderful. So Don, do you want to speak a little bit about your success using the Tennessee Materials Marketplace program?
Sure. We've had excellent success with it. We were identified by a provider of a recycled post-consumer glass in Wisconsin, and they contacted us. It was a very simple transaction. Once we got the logistics worked out, we've received project to date about 5.8 million pounds of glass, and year to date about 2.3 million pounds. So it's been very successful, easy. I would say painless.
Wonderful. And I know in my experience of talking to Don too, he's just incorporated more and more recycled materials into Forum's tile products. So it's always good to hear those success stories. I know that Lincoln Young, who's one of our presenters today as well, has experienced a ton of success with the Tennessee Materials Marketplace program as well. So Lincoln, do you want to speak to how Rockwood Sustainable Solutions has benefited from the program?
Yeah, and Emily, I was actually gonna my next slide. I was gonna introduce Lincoln, and so I'll go ahead and do that. And then he has like just a slide to talk about his the successes that he's had so far. So hang on, let me do that. So Lincoln Young, very good friend of mine, and he's the president of Rockwood Sustainable Solutions and also the vice president of the Tennessee Recycling Coalition. How he started out was he's the owner and co-founder of Ground Up Recycling, which is now Rockwood Sustainable Solutions. He has extensive knowledge on recycling shingles, wood waste, and tires. And then Rockwood Recycling Solutions continues to grow in wood recycling, tire recycling, as well as aids companies with hard-to-handle materials such as plastics, glass, cardboard, and other waste commodities. So, Lincoln, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate the opportunity to be on the call here today. And I wanted to was asked to kind of go over some of the success that we had with the marketplace. And it has been a nice tool on the recycling end that has allowed us to, if I'm talking to other recyclers on the call here, it's allowed a way to look and see, what leads may be out there that it's just a whole lot easier to have contact with the right people without having to, make those cold calls into, just the general 1-800 number and hope that you can say the right thing to get to the right person. With the marketplace, you know that you're dealing with the right person on the other end of the email or the call, and you've got someone that's interested in moving those materials. And so it's a really good platform to pair local recyclers, local people that have infrastructure for recycling with industry that is looking to move some materials. And so just the 3 locations that I have on here, I was going to just briefly talk about. We're in the wood recycling business at Rockwood Sustainable Solutions, and so all of these are pertaining to wood pallets, wood waste in general. Some of them are pallets, some of them are massive, like Mint has been a customer of ours now. It's not pallets, it's like really, really massive skids that equipment came on. So they're probably 30 or 40 foot long boxes that they just kind of throw or push into the back of a semi. So it's been good, but it's been something that we've been able to work with these customers and help them find sustainable solutions for their materials instead of having to landfill those. So just real quickly, the 3 that we have listed here are just some clients that we utilize that worked through the marketplace. Mint, I mentioned there, it was a clean out initially. It's a new company that has come into Tennessee, and they're getting equipment installed and things of that nature. We were able to put in some semis at their location, a dry van semi-trailer. They had a quote on an open top roll-off that was going to landfill. We put a semi in, and we were able to get about 4 times the material in a semi-truck that you can a roll-off. And also, they were being asked to take a chainsaw and saw cut their materials up into small pieces and put them in a roll-off. And so really weren't too happy about that option for safety reasons and things of that nature. So we were able to go in and help them, again, through kind of a lead generation of the marketplace. Purdue is very similar. It was a one-time clean out, which is fine. We can help with that too. Your avoided landfill cost doesn't really look too amazing with a one-time clean out, but the customer had some product that they were wanting to get rid of, and again, we were able to easily go in there and get that done quickly. One of the ongoing projects that started through a connection with the marketplace is a facility there in Clarksville, LG Electronics, and again, that's been a nice project. Not only have we helped them with their wood recycling and their pallets, and kind of they have savings that are ongoing. Also had a neat little project there where they had some bar chain oil that the environmental health and safety director there put on the marketplace. And Emily actually hit me up with an email and said, hey, is this something that you could use? And so what we ended up doing is I looked at it, and we had happened to have a very large tornado that hit in the Middle Tennessee area at the time that stuff hit the marketplace. And so I took it, and then we donated it to our local, there's a nonprofit like disaster relief company affiliated with the Southern Baptist Convention that's here in Nashville, and all they do basically is storm relief. And so I took it from them, I drove it straight over there myself and donated it to them, and they were very happy because they were able to use it immediately in Nashville and Wilson County in these tornadoes. So it was it's a one-time thing. It wasn't something that created a ton of savings or value, but it was something that we were able to pass on and allow a reuse item that was otherwise going to be thrown away, and it was able to benefit others. So a couple of things that just I had put on this slide was kind of, in my opinion, the marketplace creates some win-wins for industry and recyclers in order to aid one another in projects. So it's kind of a sounding board to look at issues and look at products. One of the things I wanted to say, I put on their pro tip, that was kind of in humor. I never consider myself, professional much, but communicate. One thing that I did want to say is that if you are dealing with if you have items that you're putting on the marketplace or items that you are wanting off the marketplace, communicate upfront and often as to what your expectations are. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you have materials that you would like to see moved, make sure in your listing that you put on there if it's an ongoing material or if it's a one-time clean out. Really nice if you would put on there what your loading constraints may be. So if you say, have open dock space available, can load materials onto a semi, or must be a container. Just some information when you do those listings is very, very nice in order for guys on my side to kind of vet that situation and know, if it just saves on time in making sure that we can get these things done. So communicating that up front and often, and it's oftentimes what I like to do. There's some things that we can take in here at our facility that don't have a lot of cost, but a lot of things that come into our place, there are costs, and there are huge ways to save money by utilizing our services, but I often have to communicate very quickly that I don't have an option on a lot of these materials where I could pay for that. So again, it's one of those things that we try to do is we try to communicate pretty quickly up front, kind of what the expectation is. I think that's really good to do on the marketplace platform, because it just allows us to know, okay, do we take this on to step 2, which is probably a phone conversation, or do we just keep that material out on the marketplace? So.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for that, and we'll have to go play golf soon. I didn't get to play golf with you this year, so
let's go.
But I'll pass it back to you, Emily, so you can talk about the marketplace a little bit more.
All right, wonderful. Well, thanks so much for sharing your success story, Lincoln. I do want to understand some reactions based on everything that we've shared so far about the Tennessee Materials Marketplace. I know that we have 26 attendees in the room as well. But before we go into some audience interactivity, I want to introduce Vaughn from TDEC as well. Vaughn, can you hear me?
I can.
All right, wonderful. Vaughn, it would be fantastic if you could talk a little bit about, what you've been doing with the program and your role with the Tennessee Materials Marketplace as well.
All right. Well, hi everyone. Thanks for being on the webinar. I am an environmental consultant with TDEC. I work with Caleb, and I have been lucky enough to have been handed the pleasure of interacting with the marketplace and with the U.S. Business Council for the last 3 years. And I have been the person that has been the connector mostly with industry. And what I have seen happen is a huge variety of different things. Lincoln Young has got a good set of examples here where you got an episodic one-time clean out. We've got materials that, hey, we didn't know we were going to have these things taken away. We don't want to landfill them. Can we quickly fix this? Is there someone that can use this very valuable material? That's one example. You have another example where you have something like we've seen short fiber drums from one facility. They're called short fiber drums because they're recycled from cardboard. And when it's short fiber, it means it's at the end of the line. Cardboard can be reconstituted and recycled about 7 times or so. That fiber gets to the point where you can just make this sort of a pretty good strong drum out of it, and that's the end of it. It goes to landfill then. So the one-time use that we had for that was we were able to utilize the drums for our unwanted pharmaceuticals program.
So if you can walk me through it, I can do that.
Yeah. And this is a really good tutorial as well, just so everybody knows how to log into the materials marketplace. If you go to tennessee.materialsmarketplace.org, and Caleb, I'm actually going to have you demonstrate as well the Get Involved option. So you'll see a white button in the left there, and you'll see that there's a materials marketplace assistant. And so you can actually chat with this assistant to create an account. All right, so thanks for that demonstration, Caleb. Now to go into the login capability, you'll see in the top right-hand corner that there's a login.
And I already have an account, so I'll go ahead and log in with mine.
Wonderful. All right, so these are the tiles that I was speaking of in terms of the listing. And you'll notice that listings are pulled in based on Caleb's location. If you want to hover over the map view, too, see that there's a map view where you can actually go and essentially zoom in to listings that are located throughout the state of Tennessee. I really do want to encourage this group to help us, create more listings so we have more dots to connect on this map. And there are several ways that you can do that. Obviously, joining the materials marketplace and posting listings is one way. In order to post listings, you'll see that there is a blue button up in the top right-hand corner. You'll notice that there are several categories. So I advise everybody to really be familiar with the categories. Once you understand, basically anything to be listed on the materials marketplace as a material that is available for reuse and recycling. If you're not able to find the right category, there is an other mixed-use material category. So you're able to click on any category, and then you'll see that there are multiple listing types, including available material and then also wanted material as well. So as I mentioned, wanted material is a really good category for recyclers and materials processors. So you can click on wanted material. And as Lincoln was stating, you want to include as much detail about your listing as possible, just so the logistics are very clear. And then you can also have the capability of asking more questions around the listing as well, and communicating with the person who listed through the materials marketplace. You'll notice that there are a number of boxes to check off in terms of documentation available, transportation and logistics, capabilities, also any kind of recycling or reusability rating. One thing that I would call attention to, or something I would definitely call attention to, is the expiration date for the listing. Listings do expire within 6 months. You're able to set a custom expiration date. I would really encourage you with expiration dates, make sure that you mark your calendar for the date that it will expire, so you can go in and actually update any details that have changed about that specific listing. Okay. And you can also include images for your listing as well. So Oftentimes when we're working with participants in the program, we encourage them to go around their plant and take pictures of the materials that they're either processing or seeking to reuse or recycle. So it will be very beneficial to you to have pictures associated with your listing. So it's very noticeable on the Materials Marketplace main page. All right, thanks for running through this, Caleb. So we talked about posting listings. You can also connect with others who have listed on the Materials Marketplace as well. So if you click on any one of the listings that are there, you'll be able to start a conversation with that particular participant in the Materials Marketplace program. So you'll see the blue button for Start Conversation, and you can send a message to that particular program participant. So Caleb, I'm curious to hear from you, since you are very involved in the Tennessee Recycling Coalition, and then I'm also thinking about, kind of the situation that we're in as well, where there are a lot of materials available for repurposing and recycling, but people are kind of restricted from being able to access certain sites in many cases. With the digitization aspect of being able to showcase material needs and wants, how do you see the Tennessee Materials Marketplace program benefiting members of the Tennessee Recycling Coalition?
Yeah, that's a really great point. Like you said, during these crazy times that we're living in, and there's a lot of restriction with travel and meeting face to face. I think that the marketplace, is the perfect opportunity to find these product or byproducts that could possibly be your virgin material, or constitute your virgin material when it comes to processing or using those instead of for them going to the landfill. And I was actually just speaking with one of my friends that works for Clorox in Atlanta, and they've actually been moving towards using these smart glasses to basically go around, do very similar tactics that the marketplace does, and they can have one of their members walk around with these glasses on and show their recycling center or their waste that they have, where people can basically be on a webinar call like this and see without actually being there. So I think that the technology that the marketplace has put into place, I think, is making it where it's a lot easier for processors and people that are going to be using these materials can see and chat without meeting face to face, whenever it's not really smart to be doing that in these times that we're living in. So I always try to find the positives in every situation, and as bad as the COVID-19 situation is, I think that the marketplace, this is a perfect sort of out to make that connection between processors and recyclers and people that have byproducts.
Thanks so much for those insights, Caleb. I would like to open it up to the room again. Does anybody want to raise their hand and talk about opportunities they see for involvement in the Tennessee Materials Marketplace? Do you have any hand raisers?
Well, we have a question. It says, I have been working in the recycling market development a long time and have seen some such sites not be successful. It seems to me the factors that are helping this site/program succeed are updated technology. It helps keep the site up to date, for example. And the fact that there is a program with humans behind it helping make connections help. Would you agree? What other factors make this platform successful? Thanks.
Yeah, that's a really good statement and observation about the Tennessee Materials Marketplace. We do have an ongoing development function with the program in the platform itself. And with that in mind, we're always listening to our participants, trying to understand what their needs are and how we can make the program work for them. So I would say that's really what makes it stand apart, is the ability to continue to innovate and evolve the platform based on what we're learning in terms of what works between matching recyclers, manufacturers, and other organizations. So we are absolutely open to your feedback, and we welcome any conversations about how we can make the materials marketplace work for you.
Yeah, and I will add, Emily, I think that what you guys are doing, having those, I don't know, are they weekly meetings or whenever you guys have the call and have basically like a roundtable discussion? I think that those, even though I haven't been able to be a part of it, Vaughn has talked really highly of those to me, and I think that's, I think in that question when she's asking, you know, how the Tennessee Materials Marketplace has been successful, I think that a lot of that comes from that in-person meeting, sort of like getting the conversation going. So yeah.
Yeah, so we do have regular meetings on Fridays at 11 o'clock Central Time called Materials Marketplace Join the Circular Economy. And it's actually a meeting that anybody is welcome to attend. Our team will be standing by to essentially help you in any capacity. Know that there is an option to meet with any one of us one-on-one as well. But during the Friday meetings, during the Circular Economy meetings, be happy to essentially help you with everything from account creation to listing creation. We can also talk about some materials challenges that you're having as well, and provide some recommendations around solutions, and also the matchmaking process when it comes to reuse, recycling, and building business cases around incorporating recycled materials into new products.
And we actually have Allie Omens. She's raised her hand, so I'm going to unmute you, Allie.
Hey, this is Allie again with Metro Nashville Public Works. I wanted to provide a few examples that we've seen here and maybe provide that as a source of inspiration for others on the call. One of the demolition companies here in Nashville that's been fairly involved with the materials marketplace is Demo Plus, and it's two individuals from that company are on the materials marketplace, which we've seen be helpful when more than one representative from a company is on there, so it's not just falling on one person, but they did a demolition of I believe, some sort of school building, and had posted restaurant-grade racking and a commercial-grade steamer on the materials marketplace. And I think those items are for sale, but that kind of material, I mean, food banks across the city are, you know, could use those, and that has been material that's I'm really excited has been on the materials marketplace. And then Turner Construction, which is a big construction company here, mentioned that they would be interested in posting some of their extra finishes on the site. So if one of their subcontractors orders too much of a, you know, kitchen tile or of carpet or anything, that this is material that could go on the materials marketplace, that, you know, isn't necessarily, it's beyond just your construction and demolition of like wooden bricks, but more, you know, like I said, the tile and just other finishes. So don't know if that resonates with anyone on the call, or if you have any questions about that, but just providing some more examples of how the materials marketplace can be used.
Yeah, thanks, Allie. And while you're on, I noticed that you mentioned about the C&D in Nashville, and I was wondering if you could go into a little bit more detail of like the recycling that's going on in Nashville with the construction and demolition.
Yeah, am I still unmuted?
Yes. Yes.
Cool. Sure. Yeah, so the zero waste master plan that came out for Nashville was approved in 2019 and includes in it a 90% waste reduction for the city by 2030, I believe, or 2040. And one of the subsections that is mentioned in the Zero Waste Master Plan is construction and demolition. In a waste audit that was performed in 2016, the city found that 23% of the waste that's in Nashville's landfills is coming from construction and demolition. And yeah, there's not, at the metro level, there's mattress recycling services and different services at the convenience centers, but we're really not seeing a lot of formal C&D recycling other than what Waste Management will do. So Waste Management, the large company that is a waste hauler, they do their own kind of recycling efforts and are contracted by the city. But the materials marketplace is actually mentioned within the Zero Waste Master Plan for Nashville as a source that can really help in achieving the reduction in construction and demolition waste and just general waste around the city.
Awesome, thanks for that input. And we have another question. It says, how do the businesses find out about the platform? Who does the outreach? The United States Business Council for Sustainable Development or the state agency? And then also, how quickly did Tennessee Marketplace platform become commonly used by Tennessee businesses and users?
As far as responsibility for the outreach goes, that's a combined effort between the U.S. Business Council for Sustainable Development and then also the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. Vaughn's role is essentially to be the boots on the ground in terms of inviting participants to the Materials Marketplace program. But it doesn't stop at just TDEC and the USBCSD's involvement. We also rely on our participants to invite others to the platform as well. So once you do have an account on the Materials Marketplace, you'll notice that there is actually an invite button on the top navigation bar. You'll be able to send invitations to others to help us perpetuate the program. And I'd say that's really a big factor in the success of the program as well, is just having others' involvement and others' passion for helping make it grow. So I would also request that everybody today, should you choose to be involved in the program, to use that feature just to help us continue to build the network. Realize this was a two-part question. I was formulating my response. What was the second part of the question?
How quickly did the Marketplace platform become commonly used by Tennessee businesses and users?
Yeah, so to provide some history about the program, it was launched in 2017. I would say that it did take a little over a year to really achieve a good solid growth rate, and we're just continuing to see that trend line go up as far as participation and involvement goes. Just like any software tool, right, it does take time for something to essentially gain traction. And I will say that there's just so much potential in terms of the success that we can show from this program. I'm really excited about everything that's going on in the city of Clarksville, also the city of Nashville, and our program participants such as Don and Lincoln and some of the cases for value that they've been able to show from the platform. We just see those numbers increasing all the time. So with that in mind, I just have to say that it's been a wonderful experience working with Bon and others who I've named today in terms of making this platform grow, this program grow. And we couldn't do it without people like Bon, without people like you, Caleb. I know we have several other people who have contributed to its success as well that are in the room with us today. Would like to thank everyone just for being part of this and helping us essentially spearhead an initiative that's not only keeping materials out of landfills, but we're also contributing to the economy within Tennessee as well. And if we really want to go broad too, there's so much opportunity to essentially develop new workforces within the reuse recycling area too. I know that the Wandry, for example, at Vanderbilt, it's a center for innovation, design, and research. That's just an example of how education is also getting involved in reuse, recycling, and developing a circular economy. And I think about too, there are these programs and accelerators for startups and small businesses that are essentially allocating funding to developing products from material that has been recovered. So that's a topic that we can also address as well. I would encourage everybody here today also, if you want to learn more, again, the Join the Circular Economy meetings do happen at 11 o'clock Central Time on Fridays. We'll be sending out a link to enable you to attend those. In fact, I can put one in the chat now.
Yeah, and I don't mean to cut you off or anything, Emily, but there's actually a follow-up question to the previous one, and then also another one. It says, if any other state is, or if another state is interested in this platform, who do we reach out to?
Yeah, really good question. As far as if another state is interested in joining the materials marketplace, we'll be happy to connect you with the right person who can speak to the program in that respective state. Daniel Keitzer, are you on the line with us today?
I don't see him in the.
Yeah, so again, I would be happy to make sure that you're connected with the right program manager within the materials marketplace initiative to help essentially expand the program across the U.S. and Canada.
And then, let's see, there's one more. It says, is there any rating or feedback provided about buyers of goods? Example, in the case of a late or non-payment. So, like in theory, would participants, hang on, there we go. Would participants be excluded from further participation if they were rated poorly or deemed to be not creditworthy?
Oh, that's a really good question, and that's really, I would say, a good, essentially a really good point about the materials marketplace is we do monitor the activity within the online platform to make sure that everybody is behaving within the parameters of the user agreement, if you will. And so if there is anything, suspicious going on or something that doesn't go by the code of conduct or the user terms, just know that we will disallow that participant from the program. So just thinking about that, know that it is a very selective network. We do curate it based on what we're trying to achieve in terms of developing a circular economy in a manner that complies with current laws, regulations, and essentially best practices in terms of doing business across the state of Tennessee, the U.S. and Canada.
Awesome. And Emily, I wanted to be cognizant of everybody's time. We're a few minutes over, but I just wanted to say that I'm very, very appreciative of all the time and effort that you put into the materials marketplace and just the experience and knowledge that you bring to our marketplace. Very appreciative for you. I also wanted to highlight that our next TRC webinar will be on August 13th. Meredith mentioned that at the beginning, and we're going to be exploring and learning about Lazy Boy's zero waste to landfill journey at their Dayton, Tennessee facility. It's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be full of knowledge, and it's going to sort of help if you have a corporate challenge where you're trying to get zero waste to landfill or closer to that. I think that this webinar will be able to sort of show you the trials that Cody Buell over at Lazy Boy has went through and how he sort of overcame that. So in the follow-up email for this webinar, I will I will be putting the registration link for that so that you guys can register. And then I also want to say that this webinar recording and presentation slides will be available on the website, but also will be sent out to everyone in the next few days. And if you have any further questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out to me at Caleb, C-A-L-E-B, Powell, P-O-W-E-L-L, at tn.gov. And I think I actually have a slide. Let's see, right there. My nice model picture for you guys. And then, like I said, a follow-up email will be sent out in the next few days with the recording of this and the presentation slides, as long as our presenters are okay with that. But yeah, sorry that we went a little bit over time, but we hope that you were able to learn a lot about the materials marketplace. Share it with people that you think might be able to help make it better. Like one of the questions said, is like who's marketing it? We want everyone to market it. Show your successes, and if you're not having successes right off the bat, stay with it. Keep looking. I'm sure that the success stories will come. I wanted to say thanks for everyone for registering and taking time out of their day. Thank you, Lincoln. Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Meredith. Thanks for everyone that tuned in and unmuted and talked. We really appreciate the discussion, and I hope you have a great rest of the week.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Caleb. And I wouldn't miss that one about Lazy Boy. That's going to be awesome.